Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to this special Super Tuesday edition of BNC Prime News. I'm Laverne McGee.
And I am Fred Hickman. 14 states, 1 territory, all holding nominating contests for the Democratic Party candidate for president today. It is the most pivotal day on the presidential primary calendar, and an awful lot is at stake here.
Absolutely. A lot of eyes will be on how Bernie Sanders, former Vice President Joe Biden, and Elizabeth Warren will perform. And joining us now to discuss this is BNC's Chief Legal Analyst, Dr. Laura McNeal. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Dr. McNeal, it's nice to see you.
Thank you.
Very exciting evening. So what is Biden's biggest obstacle?
Oh my goodness, the youth vote. I mean, he's doing very well with 45 and older, especially even with the African-American community, but he's got to appeal to the youth vote. His other big obstacle is his ground game is not very, he basically has no ground operations in these Super Tuesday states, unlike Sanders and Mayor Bloomberg. And so the question is, are his endorsements enough to garner the types of votes that he needs to do well in this Super Tuesday?
So what do you think African-American voters are going to throw their support to as we go through the evening? Do you think Sanders has a chance to kind of buy into that? I mean, he did get, Biden got the support of Representative Clyburn in South Carolina. That really springboarded him.
It was huge.
Yeah.
It did springboard him. And not to mention with Buttigieg as well as Klobuchar both endorsing Biden, I think that's going to help him out quite a bit. So I'm thinking that Biden really, his best hope is, again, moderates. He has a really good, strong support from the moderate base. But the question is, he's established with South Carolina. Obviously, he had the African-American vote there. But can he do it in those larger states? Can he do it in Texas? Can he do it in California? Because, those are really going to be a determining factor in tonight's race. And so, I mean, right now, we're basically at a tie. Biden's, won one state, and then Sanders, Vermont. And so I think it's still pretty early. But again, I'm really excited about California. I cannot wait to see how they do in California and Texas.
So what about Sanders? We've all been hearing that the African-American vote is so critical. Sanders traditionally does well with young voters and young Caucasian voters. How is Sanders going to do with these states that have diverse populations? Well,
I have to give Sanders credit. He's been in Texas since 2015. He has a very impressive ground game there. He's got community activists. He has elected officials that have been going out into the Hispanic community. And so I think that is going to help offset any African-American support that he does not get. And, to be honest, a lot of the younger African-Americans, again, under 45, he's been able to really garner a lot of support from them, based on his Medicare for All proposal, coupled with, of course, waiving your student loans. Who wouldn't want their student loans waived or paid for by Wall Street, right? And so I really think that I wouldn't count out his support from the African-American community, but more important, we don't want to lose sight on the significance of the Latino community, especially in states like Texas and California. I know based on recent statistics from the U.S. Census, in California, the Hispanic population actually exceeds the white population, the Caucasian population, and that speaks volumes.
Now, before we let you go for this segment, we're going to be here for a long night. Beto O'Rourke's throwing in his support in Texas. Very, very popular among the young people in Texas, very popular among the Latinos. How big was that as far as endorsing Joe Biden last night?
I think it was very significant. As you mentioned, O'Rourke, he is very popular with the youth. But again, I think it might have been more influential if his state was California, because Sanders has spent so much time and money and resources in the state of Texas. I think that it might offset this endorsement. So I wouldn't say it's a clear shot.
All right.
Thank you, Dr. Laura.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate it. We'll see you a little bit later on.
Exciting night.
Be sure, of course, everybody to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and go to theblacknewschannel.com for up-to-the-minute Super Tuesday polling results. Our My Vote 2020 coverage continues after this brief break. Please stay with us.